So both my kids are taking karate right now, and as a kid I took karate as well. And it was really interesting because my older daughter just took her belt exam and she passed, which is really awesome. And I was reviewing the test marks with her, and I came across something that was really interesting, and it made me think about how important it is in reflexology. So I want to share with you how karate and reflexology can be quite similar and work together. So as I was reviewing these marks, the coolest thing to me was the part that wasn't doing the work. So for example, when you punch, you punch out, and there is a category on, how good the punch is, but also on what the backhand is doing. So if it's, loose or anything like that, and you're sort of just punching, the equal amount of importance, and also in my mind, it's almost more important, the hand that is not doing the work, right? So I'll call it the non-working hand, right? And same with the kicks too. I noticed this as well. So they're looking at your balance as far as kicking. So when you're kicking and punching and that sort of thing, it was really neat because in all the categories, it was looking at the part that you weren't doing anything. And also when they were grading you in the belt exam, they were looking at you as far as, when half the class or a part of the class was doing their test, how it is that you are sitting and watching or waiting your turn, right? Are you kind of fidgeting or moving all around and things like that? So that was also taken into account for your overall mark. And so that was really interesting to me. Why I wanted to talk about this and why I wanted to make this video today was that it really made me think about when you're doing reflexology and when you're working with somebody, what is the non-working thumb or fingers or hand doing while it's working, right? And it's so important here. I have my demo foot that I use here, and sorry, there's a toe missing, so it looks very morbid, but they work well for me. So try to ignore that. Now that I've told you, there's impossible for you to ignore it. But anyway, so when we're talking about the non-working hand, for example here, I'm just going to walk up like this with my thumb. Okay, cool. Really great. But what is my non-working hand doing, right? So it's adding a whole lot of support. So if you're just kind of just holding your hand over here and it's kind of just laying on the foot, it's not that comfortable. See how now there's not a lot of support when you're doing there? But if you work the non-working hand together, and you add support into what you're doing, it can add a lot of power to your reflexology. The same thing in karate. When this hand is tight and back, it's ready to deliver a more powerful strike than if it's kind of just hanging out going, oh, okay, and oh, now go, right? So it's really an interesting concept to think about is, we're always focused on what we are doing, what the hand that's doing, but what part of your body that's not working is supporting the working hands, right? And that is really what it's about, is the non-working parts are there to support the working parts. And how much support or lack of support is there when you're doing reflexology, right? So again, what is this hand doing when I'm turning the foot? Right? Is it engaging? Is it just giving a nice comfortable hold? How hard is it holding? How, is it just kind of just flop there, right? This kind of information is going to translate into the session, into the person, right? They're going to feel this comfort level of yourself, right? So let's see some other examples here, non-working hand. So I'll just change to be this kind of thing, because you can just work up the shoulder area here and that's all you do. You kind of just flop your hand here and go, oh, okay, cool, and working on the foot, yay. But if your intention is to work here, how is it that you can support this movement with the non-working hand, right? So maybe part of it might be to kind of go behind and add as an extra stable component. So I do this a lot where I work one hand over top of the other. And it works great in a bunch of different ways, especially when I'm working the toes. Like if I'm coming down the toe here, right? If I have this supporting hand, the non-working hand, it's a lot better than if I was just going down this way, right? And if the client has, you know, for example, some ingrown toenails here, or, you know, sensitive, sharp areas, if I'm just working like this, I could end up hurting this person's foot because you're kind of squishing, right? You're doing your job here. So if you have a nice support and you work over top of the supporting hand, you can see now that there's a lot more support, and it's easier for me to work now because this toe isn't flopping all around now, right? So as a reflexologist, how can you apply some of these concepts that, you know, being in total control of your body, something like what karate is teaching you, or any type of martial arts, or any type of yoga, or anything like that, right? To be a better reflexologist, to go that extra level, you really have to think about all the stuff that is supporting what you do in reflexology. So it's not only about the working hand, right? It's about how you support the working hand, how you support yourself in the knowledge that you have in reflexology, right? So there you go, karate and reflexology. Who would have known? When you're working on your next session, check into the non-working hand and see what it's doing. See if it can be improved. Make sure it's not digging in strange with any, you know, nails or things like that. I notice a lot of people when they're first learning reflexology, they do little weird things when they're holding the foot, and they're holding it like this, right? Where the nails are digging in. And they're not even aware of that because they're so focused on working the detailed work, right? So just be aware of the non-working hand and see if it can help you and improve your session, because I know for myself it has improved my reflexology tenfold. Hope that helps. Run with it. So until next time, keep those feet happy. Happy reflexology. Bye-bye. Let me know what you thought of this video by leaving a comment below. Any type of feedback can be useful. If you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. And if you found it useful, feel free to share it with anybody who might be interested. Make sure that you have subscribed to this channel if you haven't already. And make sure that you hit, or better yet, step on that bell icon so you know when the next video is coming out. And if you have some more time, why don't you check out some other videos? Till next time, this is Adam Thomas from balancingtouch.ca.